Hey everybody, welcome to the video. So today we've got our Atlas 80 volt electric chainsaw. And we've been using this for about 5 years on small jobs. And we're to the point now that the chain on this has been sharpened multiple times and it's really due for replacement. The bar's also got some wear to it. So I've got an Oregon bar and a 14-inch chain, and we're gonna put that on. Now, the stock bar is 18 inches long, but I always kind of thought that was a little bit big honestly, for what this saw's power is. So we're gonna put this 14 on there and see how it goes. The other thing is, I bought this 14-inch bar and chain on Amazon for $25. And if you look on the Harbor Freight website, so the replacement chain for this saw is $21 by itself, $21.41 actually. And a replacement bar is $25. So I figured kind of money ahead going with an Oregon. Now this bar is a .050 thickness bar. And of course it's 14-inch long. The chain that goes on this is a 3/8 pitch, low profile chain. And again, .050 width. The chain on this Atlas chainsaw is also a 3/8 pitch, and it's also a .050 chain. Now, actually, I've seen some things that are a little bit different. I've seen some things where they say this chain here is actually .047, so .03 of an inch, actually millimeter, so .003 of a millimeter less. But I'll tell you what, I bet it'll fit. Let's check it out. Okay, so before we actually do anything with this chainsaw, we'll make sure the chain brake is on. That turns off the saw. But then beyond that, we've got a fully charged battery. We're gonna go ahead and pull that out as well. Now we know this saw can't come to life on us. Don't you hate that when chainsaws come to life? So you can see we've got a little bit of use on this saw. Like I said, it definitely can use cleaned up, so we'll do that as we go through also. Okay, so we use our scrunch tool. And again, this is the spark plug in. We don't need it, but we'll take this loose. So this is the first time I've had this cover off, and these bar nuts are captive on this. That's kind of a cool idea. I've lost these nuts before in out in the field. So now we'll just take our bar and chain off. Okay, take that, set it aside, set our bar aside. Now usually these bars will have all the information right in this area. Like I said, this Oregon does, but this Atlas doesn't seem to. I don't see anything written on here at all. Well, let's just line them up and see how they look. All right, well, looking at the saws that this bar and chain will fit, it lists a whole bunch of them, but it doesn't list any of the Atlas saws. But let's just look at these bars and see if they're pretty close. So right off the bat, it looks like the chain adjustment slot and the mounting slots or holes are exactly the same. It looks to me like the thickness of these bars are the same. Obviously, we've got a shorter bar with the Oregon. But like I said, I kind of feel like this saw could benefit from a shorter bar. Okay, and the model number on this Oregon bar and chain combo is 27856. All righty, now let's take a look at our chain. Those drive teeth look the same to me. And like I said, across 3 of the teeth is how they measure the pitch. And again, it looks the exact same to me. So let's go ahead and clean up this saw and put this new bar and chain on. And I just use air to clean these up when they're not horribly dirty. Okay, and this saw has leaked some bar oil, and then also it flings it, but that's mostly what we've got here for dirt. Go ahead and clean out the battery tray while we're at it. All right, I think we're ready to go ahead and put this new bar and chain on. All right, and here's another indicator that our chain was stretched and in need of replacement. This adjuster was almost all the way out. So before we put the new bar and chain on, we'll go ahead and run that adjuster back in. We'll just go ahead and run that most of the way back out. So now we've got the chain as loose as it's going to be when we put it back on here. Okay, so we'll take our bar and we'll go ahead and put our chain on it. And on this, make sure you put the chain on the correct direction, because it's kind of easy to put it on the wrong way, but your rakers need to be in front of the cutting teeth. Chain in the groove, and we'll go around the sprocket. And we make sure that the adjustment pin goes in the hole, and it did. All right, let's go ahead and put our side cover back on. And I kind of really like these captive nuts that has for the bar. Like I said, they wobble around, but they don't come out. So you won't lose them. Which is kind of important because I've lost those before. And we'll just snug this up a little bit. We still have to adjust our chain, so we don't want to go ahead and crank them down yet. And right off the bat, I think that Alice 80-volt chainsaw looks a whole lot more proportionate with a 14-inch bar on it than it did with that 18. Okay, so looking at our chain, it's pretty loose. We can pull it up and almost all the way out of the groove in the bar. And same thing just with gravity, it's holding it down here. So let's go ahead and tighten this bar up. On that, you always want to put a little pressure on the tip of your saw. So we'll just set it on the packaging there and run this adjuster out. By tightening the screw, that makes the chain tighter. I think that's just about right. I can pull it up, but I can't pull it so high that it can come off that bar. So now we'll just go ahead and tighten up our bar nuts. And I don't know what the torque specs on these are. You don't want to kill it because you could strip something out on this, but just go ahead and snug them up good. All right, let's go ahead and check the bar oil. Just make sure that's good to go. And it's about half full, so I'm gonna say that's plenty. All right, let's go ahead and get our battery back in. Take our chain brake off. I think it's gonna work great. Let's go try it out. Here's a good way to make sure that your oiler is working. Put a paper towel down in the shop and pull the trigger, let the blade spin. You should see the oil on the paper towel. So our oiler is working. So sometimes these blades, brand new, are not that sharp. I'll tell you what, this one feels sharp as heck. So let's go ahead and cut some stuff, see how we do. Now this is a 14-inch bar, which means if you go from both sides, you should be able to do a 28-inch tree. But I'm telling you what, I'd have never cut anything anywhere near that big with this little chainsaw. Most of my stuff is about 4 to about 8 inches that we cut. Okay, so our little scabbard, it actually has markings on here, and there's the 14-inch one, so we'll cut that off right there. All right, and so now we've got the scabbard set up for a 14-inch bar instead of the 18. All right, and with our adapted little scabbard, we're ready to roll. All right, so here we are at a tulip poplar tree, and this is the state tree of Indiana, but this one's in the wrong place. So let's go ahead and cut this up with our 14-inch bar Alice chainsaw. First, we'll take off the low limbs. All right, that made short work of that. Put our chain brake on and clean these limbs up around the bottom. All right, so we'll go ahead and follow this towards the barn. It's not that tall, so it can't get there. And there we go. I'll tell you what, I like this Alice 80-volt chainsaw a lot, and I like it a lot better with the 14-inch Oregon bar on it. Let's cut this up. All right, and with just cutting that down and cleaning those limbs up, we're down to 3 bars. Not bad, starts at 4. All right, let's make some little firewood. All right, and this is not what I do with this chainsaw normally, but I'll tell you what, you can do it. We'll see where we're at now. We're still at 3 bars, so it looks like it should go ahead and take care of this little job. All right, I'll tell you what, this saw honestly has never cut so well. All right, and I've got this tree all cleaned up. It's a little too windy out to burn anything today, but I just wanted to show that we did clean the mess up. Let's go inside and finish this video out. All right, well, we got all that cutting done, and our battery is still at 3 bars. So you can't beat that. And I'll tell you what, honestly, this saw has never cut better. And I really like Oregon products. I'm sure they're probably better. I know there's more expensive. But I think you get a really good quality both bar and chain with this little setup. And honestly, I don't remember this 18-inch bar with the stock chain ever cutting that well. And I don't know if it's because it's a longer bar. I would think the chain speed would be the same. But I did think about it might generate a little more heat with a shorter chain because these teeth are going through faster, I guess, maybe. But either way, I like it a lot. And this isn't the way that I normally use this chainsaw. I use this chainsaw usually after storms when limbs or small trees have went across my driveway, or even sometimes across the road. And we've had to cut ourselves out of the little area we live in more than once. So anyway, I like it. It worked well. And I'll tell you what, can't hardly beat it. So if you got anything out of this video, give us a thumbs up. It absolutely helps our channel. And we invite you to subscribe to see more. Have a great day and be safe.